What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Collective Histories. So last week we finished off with a tier list ranking of some of the prime ministers. Now, I wasn't planning on doing a tier list today, but yesterday was my 30th birthday, and usually I record the audio for my videos on a Sunday, and yeah, so yesterday I was too busy to do that, so this is just a quick video to fill in the gap left behind by my birthday. So I apologize for my birthday yesterday. So we're going to do another tier list. This is just for fun. It's a bunch of historical leaders, I guess. And we're going to try and rank some of them. For some of them, don't take it too seriously. I mean, this is not really an in-depth ranking. It's some random British history RE teacher's own ranking. So it's not definitive, people, okay? Don't take it too bad. Okay, so let's begin. So starting off, we got Charlie Chaplin. I mean, Adolf Hitler. And, I mean, way to start with the worst, I guess. So, can we make a new category for Hitler? Can we make, add a row below, okay? Did that just add a new row? Ah, perfect. Okay, so this one I'm going to call literally Hitler. Because he is literally Hitler. And we're going to make it, I don't know what, electric pink. Okay, so Hitler gets his own category. He's in the bottom. He's in the literally Hitler category. It's where he deserves to be. Abe Lincoln, get out of there. You don't belong in the literally Hitler category. What the heck? Okay. And now Hitler's gone missing. Whoa, this is tragic, people. I don't know what's going on. Okay, Hitler's in the literally Hitler category. Okay, next we have who I presume is Benjamin Franklin. Looks like him. I'm going to guess it is. You'll correct me if it's not. And I don't know too much about Ben Franklin. Not really a historian of that period of American history. From what I've read, I like him. Don't know too much to say if I dislike him. Mostly known from a Tenacious D song. Ben Franklin was a rebel indeed. I'm going to put him as a C, just because I don't know too much about him. Okay, next, a man I do know about, Abraham Lincoln. For those who know, for those who don't know, I am a Welsh patriot, and Lincoln is a descendant of the Welsh. So, for that alone, he's an S, but we're not going to put him in S based on that. I mean, what can we say? He's one of the better American presidents. I think he was president 1859, 1860, something like that, up to his death in, I think, 1863. I don't know. It's been a while since I studied the American Civil War. I need to do some more research on that. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln. I mean, Emancipation Proclamation, good president, led the Union. I'm going to give him an A. I'll come back to it. He's definitely an A or an S. That's a certainty. Okay, Winston Churchill. I just ranked him on Friday in my UK Prime Minister tier list, and he ranked very high, the highest tier. But this is in comparison to a bunch of other world leaders, not just the British Prime Ministers, so he might go lower. Won the Second World War. But in this tier list, I can judge him on some of the other things, such as the Bengal famine and his enraging distrust of Welshers. So I am going to put Winston Churchill as a B. Okay, Clement Attlee. Funnily enough, him and Churchill both ranked in the top tier in my UK Prime Minister tier list. Again, ranked in the highest, but now he's in comparison to the rest of the world. Domestic policy in Britain, very good. Probably the best period in British history, in my opinion. But in terms of foreign policy, the partition of India was such a big mess up. And for that alone, I'm going to put him. He's going to stay with Winston Churchill as a B. I mean, the introduction of the NHS, great thing, but there's in comparison to the world leaders, he's kind of outweighed on that. Okay, it looks like Emperor Hirohito of Japan. don't know an awful lot about Hirohito, I'm being honest. He's probably the big leader of World War II who I know the least about. I do know he was allied with Hitler. That's a reason for me to instantly dislike him. Yeah. I believe he was like the last leader from World War II to die. He was around for a pretty long time after the war, I believe. I'm going to put him as an E. Okay, well, Karl Marx isn't a world leader. I mean... Okay, anyway, Karl Marx. What can I say? The big founder of Marxism. Depending on your political viewpoint, you either love him or hate him. There's no in-between. For me, personally, don't dislike Karl Marx. You can't attribute the failures of the Soviet Union, North Korea, so forth, to Karl Marx. I mean, you can say they followed aspects of his ideology, and they were certainly Marxist in some ways, but you can't say that that's all attributable to him. His writings, I've read Das Kapital, so you don't have to. And I don't think he deserves that level of blame. And I like him. Controversial as it may be, I'm going to put him as a B. And I'm only putting him low as a B because he's not a world leader. So, very weird. Okay, Chairman Mao. Where do we go with Chairman Mao? So, my cat is called Chairman Meow. Again, probably the communist world leader I know the least about. I have been to China. I have been to Tiananmen Square. I've been to the Forbidden City, which still bears his face. Yeah. Responsible for millions of deaths, so I've got to put him pretty low on my communist friend list. So Chairman Mao, I'm going to put you as a D. Okay, looks like my buddy Chinggis Khan next. Chinggis Khan. Not Genghis Khan, people. Chinggis Khan, Mongolian overlord, ruler of vast empire, rapist of millions. Instant reason to dislike him. But many people don't know he was also one of the first religious tolerant leaders. He was pretty cool on religion. Many people don't know that about him, but it's true. And many Mongol leaders afterwards were Christian, and some were Muslim, especially Muslim. I mean, if we're judging him on his benevolence, obviously he's going to be in the literally Hitler section. But he did shape the world into what it is today. I think 1 in every 100 Asians are descended from Chinggis Khan. He's going to go next to Mao. I'm going to put him as a D. We have literally no criteria for these folks, so I apologize, okay? This is just for fun. Cleopatra, coming at you. Cleopatra, I think she was the last pharaoh of Egypt, from what I know. Had a relationship with Julius Caesar, and then afterwards... Mark Antony. Don't know an awful lot about her. I do dabble in ancient history, though earlier ancient history than this. This is around about the 1st century AD, just before. I'm going to put Cleopatra as a C for Cleopatra. Okay, next we have Bill Clinton. Look at all that sleaze. There's so much sleaze in one photo. Jeez Louise. Okay, Bill Clinton, president between, I think, 1990... Hang on, let me think this through. 1992 to 2000, I think. One of the impeached presidents. Monica Lewinsky. But a very positive time for Americans. What's that song he had? Was it Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow? Kind of similar to Tony Blair in the UK, I guess. Very similar. Was it a peaceful time in United States history? Don't know enough to say. I'm going to give him a D just because I don't know too much about Bill Clinton, aside from the fact he's very sleazy, likes to play the saxophone, had a good taste in presidential campaign song, and yeah, he didn't have any relations. Or did he? I'm putting him D. Bill Clinton next to Genghis Khan and Chairman Mao. What do these three people have in common? Okay, next we have what looks like Leon Trotsky. Leon Trotsky, one of the triumvirate of the communist Russians, although I don't think he was Russian. I don't think he's Russian-born. I know Stalin's Georgian. I can't remember about Trotsky. Let me just check that out. Leon Trotsky. Oh, he was Russian, by the looks of it. Ah, modern-day Ukraine. Okay, that makes sense. So Leon Trotsky, one of the triumvirates of the big communists in Russia at the time, with Lenin and Stalin. Probably one of the more intelligent of the three, if I'm being completely honest. He wrote some books. Had a very unfortunate end with an ice pick. Not good. Not good. I believe he lived out in exile in fear of Stalin trying to do something like that. So, Trotskyists. We all know about Trotskyists. Not my favorite of the three. I prefer Lenin to Stalin. Lenin to Trotsky and to Stalin, in my opinion. I'm going to put Trotsky as a C, next to Ben Franklin and Cleopatra. Okay, next we have, I think it's Julius Caesar. Could be Augustus. Can we get this picture up? Julius Caesar bust. Looks more like Julia. Could be Augustus. I'm going to go with Julius Caesar. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Okay, Julius Caesar. I mean, I came, I saw, I conquered. Bad time for my Celtic ancestors, I must say. But you got to respect him. You got to respect him. He was ahead of his time. He was people don't realize Julius Caesar himself was a great historian. Not many people were writing history during that time period, but he was. And you can say that the history was altered in some way to portray him in a better light, because, of course, historians are going to be biased if writing the history about themselves. However, you have to respect Julius Caesar. So for me, Julius Caesar is probably going to be in the S category. I like Julius Caesar. Next, we have the main man, Che Guevara. Aquí se queda la clara, comandante. Okay, Che Guevara. Sorry about that, folks. Che Guevara, one of the better Soviet? No. One of the better communist leaders, I should say. Big part of the Cuban Revolution, good friends with Fidel Castro, fought alongside him against Batista's rule. Not Dave Batista. And, yeah, good man. He died in Bolivia, I believe. I think he was executed, and he died a martyr in some ways for the socialist cause. I believe he was a doctor before that. So, yeah, I personally like Che Guevara, but he's not a world leader. He never was the leader of a country. So on that basis, he's kind of like Karl Marx. I'm going to put Che Guevara as a C for Che Guevara. Okay, the next one. I could be wrong. I think that's Caligula. Can I just get a Caligula up? Caligula. Yeah, that's Caligula. Okay, Caligula. Wow. Everyone knows Caligula is one of the more wacky of Roman emperors. He was pretty damn insane. He made his horse an admiral or general, presumably. I mean, it could be the politicians of the day were trying to slander him and make him look stupid. Although he probably was, because he got assassinated pretty easily. Caligula, not good. Not good. Is he literally Hitler? I don't know. He didn't have enough time to be Hitler. I'm going to put him as an F. He's an F. Get in there. You bad man, you. Okay, well, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., big fan. Big fan. Not a world leader, though. Not a world leader. So why is he here? I guess this is just leaders. Like different leaders. Martin Luther King, what can you say? Spoke a lot of good. Most of it was good, if not all of it. Bus boycott in support of Rosa Parks. Great thing. Carried on throughout the civil rights movement, of which he was a central figure of. I'm putting him as an S. I mean, come on. You can't put Martin Luther King Jr. below an S. Okay, and who is this man? Is it Charlemagne? Charlemagne. Did he have a sword? Who is this dude? I don't want the actual sword. I just want to see if he had a picture holding a sword. Charlemagne painting. Might be Charlemagne. Picture's too small to see. I don't think it is. Who is this person? Okay, I'm going to make a new category for no idea. Add a row below. Please correct me in the comment section, people, because I really don't know who this person is. No idea. / Charlemagne. Okay, next we have Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So FDR is one of my preferred presidents, to be honest with you. Though I will say the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II kind of lowers him on my presidential ranking in recent times. Like a lot of the domestic policy before the Second World War, I really do. But you can't ignore the internment. It was very bad, and it was very unnecessary, in fact. Those same Japanese Americans probably would have supported the United States and probably would have signed up to fight if they had the opportunity. So, not a big fan. FDR, I mean, I am a big fan, but I'm not a big fan. I'm a fan, but less so than I used to be. So FDR, you're above Hirohito. I can't put you in the Hirohito category. I'm putting you next to Bill. Actually, no, I still think that's too low. I'm putting him as a C. I'm putting him as a C. Also, depending on your view on American democracy and the Declaration, not the Declaration, but the Constitution, you might take issue with the fact I think he served 3 terms and was going for a 4th. So, depends how you stand on that. Okay, who is this person? Jeez, who? Okay, he's a king of some kind. You're all about to witness the fact that I don't really like the royals too much. I don't know who this person is. He's probably King George. King George. Was it the 5th? No, it's not him. Was it Edward before him? King Edward the 7th? Yeah, no idea. You're in the Charlemagne category, my friend. Just because I have this accent does not mean that I support the royals, okay? I don't know who this person is. If you do, please tell me. I would love to know, and then I'll probably rank them later. Okay, next, George Washington. So, I actually really like George Washington because he became the U.S. president, and he could have ruled for life if he wanted to, but the guy wasn't hungry for power. He didn't really want to be a president. He just kind of wanted to retire and live out the rest of his days in peace. He could have been like Oliver Cromwell, to make a British comparison. He could have ruled with a despotic iron fist and basically make himself a king in anything but name, and then try to make his son the ruler to build up a new royal family, but he didn't. Washington is an admirable man. I very much like George Washington. And he belongs for me in the A category next to Abraham Lincoln. Okay, well, it looks like Gorbachev. So, I'm not always a big fan of Gorbachev. But I do think he had good intentions. And I don't dislike him. So Gorbachev, without saying too much more about you, I'm going to put you next to Bill Clinton as a D. And you're a good D. You're almost a C. Okay. Next we have... Oh, God, here we go again. Not sure. Might come back to you. Okay, William Wallace. You could have used a painting of William Wallace instead of the Mel Gibson abomination. William Wallace, I love the man. And you want to know why I love the man? Because he beat Edward I Longshanks. Well, he didn't beat him, actually. It kind of ended very brutally. But he took him on. And if you know the history of my country, Wales, you'll know that Edward Longshanks was the reason Wales is now this quiet part of the United Kingdom. So, I hate Longshanks. I love William Wallace. William Wallace, Celtic Brethren, you're going into the S category. Get up there, my friend. Okay, next we have John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. So, controversial opinion, I know. I am not a fan of JFK. He's actually one of my least favorite presidents. I believe that his premature death boosts him far too much. And I get it. He died young. He had Hollywood looks, but he wasn't that good. The Cuban Missile Crisis could have been avoided. Yes, you can say he handled it very well, but still, it didn't need to happen the way it did. The Bay of Pigs crisis, what can be said about that? Yeah, not a big fan of JFK. Never have been, really. And there's a lot of sleaze during his presidency, too. And the way he became president, too. I'm not a big fan of that. So, yeah, JFK, not a big fan. I'm putting you next to Hirohito. Hirohito and JFK go hand in hand here. Okay. Who is this man? Is this Thomas Aquinas? Thomas Aquinas. Saint Thomas Aquinas. It looks kind of like him. Can we have the same picture anywhere? I mean, it could be him. It could not be. I'm going to say it is. St. Thomas Aquinas, as a teacher of religious education, I like you. I like teaching about you. You're a good man. And for that, I'm going to put you as an A. If this is not Thomas Aquinas, this is going to be very funny. Okay, Benito Mussolini. Yeesh, what can be said? Bella ciao. That's all I can say to this. Don't like him. Don't like him at all. Not much more can be said. We all know who Benito Mussolini is. We all mostly don't like him. I'm putting you in the literally Hitler category. There you go. You're back with your BFF. Ah, mon empereur, Napoleon Bonaparte. I love Napoleon. Let it be said. I do love Napoleon. I wrote my master's thesis on Napoleon. I wrote my bachelor's dissertation on Napoleon. He's probably the person in history I know the most about. I'm going to put him as an S. I love Napoleon. I am biased and I accept it. This video is not supposed to be anything more than the biased ramblings of a man who has no official video to make. So he's going in the S. Ronald Reagan. So I should be vehemently opposed to Ronald Reagan. I've made it pretty obvious in the past what my politics are, though I try to refrain from letting them influence any of my videos. But it's clear. I am not on Ronald Reagan's side of the political fence. That being said, I don't hate him. I don't like Reaganomics. That's true. I don't like the way he presented himself as this champion of world and American liberty. I don't see him as that. I don't subscribe to this libertarian view. But at the same time, I don't dislike him. I really don't. I think he did pretty good in his own mind and in the mind of millions, which is what ultimately matters. He won a historic landslide. Yeah, I don't dislike him. Also a good speaker. People don't realize how good of a speaker he was. I believe in the Second World War he was even doing radio broadcasts. Very good speaker, very good orator. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I like him as a person. I never met the man, of course, but I like him as a person. And for that reason, I'm going to put him as a C. Gandhi. I like Gandhi very, very much. For those who don't know, I live in India. So I do like Gandhi. And I've made it clear in the past in my other videos, I didn't like the way Churchill treated him. Didn't like it at all. Never have done. I've always liked Gandhi. I like the message that he gave. Some of his post-independence aims, maybe not great, but you can't deny the fact that he was crucial in the re-emergence of India as a global power, as they should be. So, for that reason alone, I'm putting Gandhi as an S. Get up there, Gandhi. He was also a big influencer in many of the others who came after him. Martin Luther King Jr., for example. Big influencer in the pacific, non-violence approach to protest. I like him. Another man I like, Theodore Roosevelt. Might surprise you that I like him, but I do. He was a Republican president back when the Republican Party was very different to what it is now. He was a progressive within that Republican Party. I've always kind of liked him. Great speaker. He gave a speech, was shot, and carried on giving the speech, even though there was a bullet in him. I believe it was a tobacco tin that saved his life inside his pocket. What more can you say? He's an A. He's an A for me. I like Theodore Roosevelt. Also hated being called Teddy Roosevelt, so that's why I've refrained from calling him that. Oh, geez. Elizabeth I. What more can be said about Elizabeth I? Again, I've said, not a big fan of the royals. Bad times for Wales, particularly during the Tudor era. So, of course, I'm not going to be too much in favour of Elizabeth I. Don't hate her either, really. She's just kind of... I know she's not. She's a very important monarch. But to me, she's mid. Okay? I'm going to put her as an E. She's in the company of JFK and Hirohito. That's an E. Okay. Next, we have Elizabeth II. Don't dislike her as much as Elizabeth I. Didn't like her too much either. And it's a different time for the monarchy in general. They have far less power than what they did back then. Still the head of state, of course. But, I mean, Elizabeth II presided over the gradual decolonization process. She was prime minister for a very long time. I believe her first prime minister was Winston Churchill, and her last was Liz Truss. And if you don't know who Liz Truss is... None of us do. Don't worry. I think she was prime minister for like a minute. So, yeah. I don't like Elizabeth II too much. But compared to most of the other monarchs, probably like her more. She's not an E. I think that would be too unfair. Her favourite dog was the Welsh Corgi. I like that as a Welshman. I could rise her up a little bit. I'm going to put her as a C. And even that kind of pains me. I'd rather have a lower, but I don't dislike her as much as the others. Okay, Joseph Stalin. The man of steel. Joseph Stalin, of course, probably the most important of the Soviet leaders, more so than Lenin, unfortunately. Stalinism reigned supreme, led to the Cold War. He turned the Soviet Union into the joint superpower of the world during the Cold War period. It was the US and the Soviets. There was no other way about it. It was those two. And you kind of have to admire that. Now, his World War II strategy, was it that good? I mean, millions of Russians lost their lives, I believe. The population of Russia was severely diminished by the war. Not a big fan. And, yeah, a lot of political enemies were sent to Gulag or killed. Trotsky, for example. Yeah, Stalin. Not a big fan. Probably the worst thing to ever happen to the socialist cause. You're an E. You're an E. Get in there, Stalin. You're next to Elizabeth. And this is one of the pharaohs. It's usually Tutankhamun. Which is weird, because Tutankhamun was, I believe, not pharaoh for very long. He died as a teenager. Could be Khufu. This is a case of we don't know enough about this person, if it is Tutankhamun. And if it's Khufu, I just don't know enough about them. Yeah, I don't know enough about the pharaohs. Could be Ramesses. I have no idea. I'm going to put him as a no idea. And last but not least, Vladimir Lenin. So, my favorite of the Soviet triumvirate, if you will. And, yeah, wrote a great deal of many a book. He was probably the purest in Marxism, at least until he came to power. People don't realize that the Marxism Marx and he preached is very different to the one which occurred. Now, of course, you'll say, he's making excuses for socialism again. Not true. Not true. It does tend to fail. But I often think it's not the fault of the theory, but more so the man or woman. And, yeah, it was similar for Lenin too. I have to admit, now that I'm a little bit older, I don't like him as much as I used to. Used to be a big fan. And if I put him lower than Mr. Reaganomics himself, Mr. Tear Down Our Wall, then this will be a complete diversion from the original, edgier version of me. But I've still got Marx ahead. So Marx is there fighting the good fight. I'm going to put Lenin as a C, next to Queen Elizabeth II. I'm sure they would have been best of friends and they would have had great talks about houses. And that concludes this wacky tier list. Thank you very much for making it till the end, if you did. And if you did, I applaud you, sincerely. If you want more from Collective Histories, please hit the subscribe button. And you can follow us at facebook.com/Collective Histories page. And on Instagram at instagram.com/The Collective Histories. And on Twitter/X at x.com/Collective Histo. And you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Collective Histories. If you do any of these things, I'll be very grateful. I am already very grateful to all of you, each and every one of you. I get positive comments every day, and it fills me with joy. We'll be back either Wednesday or Friday with the next video, and I promise it's going to be a return to more traditional content. I would like to finish the History of the Political Parties series I started. I originally stopped with the third video because it didn't look like the first two videos were very were doing very well. But they did very well. So I might return back to that series. And I shouldn't really cancel a series on whether it's doing well or not. I should just do what I enjoy and what I think you might enjoy. So I'm going to return to that series at some point. Maybe this week, maybe not. And yeah, there's other things I'd like to do too, so please stick around. We'll see you again for the next video very, very soon. And I wish you all the best. Have a lovely week. See you later. Ta-ra!